It is a wonderful, drizzly, rainy day today in the garden. Hi, and welcome back. I'm Katie with Rain or Shine Gardening, and today is part 3 of our garden glow up makeover garden bed expansion project. And I'm going to take you along for what we have in store for today. But first things first, my lettuce is ready to be harvested for my chickens, and they are begging for a treat. So I'm going to get them some lettuce, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to work on today for part 3. Well, the chickens seemed pretty excited to get that treat. I think it's one of their favorites. I also like to give them the leaves of my cabbage. So as the leaves grow and they get really large and they start kind of impeding on the growth of some other things I have planted around them, I will harvest some of those big leaves and take it over and give it to them throughout the day too. So they like the treat. So back to our project. This is part 3. So we are doing a no-till, no-dig method and creating our expanded garden beds in our front garden. And it's also known as sheet mulching. But the idea is that instead of cutting out all of the sod where we had grass before, we are putting down cardboard to suppress all of the grass and the weeds and everything that was growing there before. And then we're going to be putting a layer of mulch or compost on top of the cardboard and then planting directly in that. If it's something that does require deeper planting, we can cut through the cardboard and dig out a deeper hole. But I'm planning on putting a pretty deep layer of compost. So most of what I'm going to be planting is going to be able to be planted directly in the compost that's on top of the layer of cardboard. So what's going to happen is the cardboard on the very bottom layer, it's going to suppress the grass from growing up through the compost, and eventually it will disintegrate. And because it's made from a natural product, a wood product from trees, cardboard's made out of paper, it will disintegrate and return into the earth. First off, I'm going to be using cardboard that I already have sourced. So since we knew we were doing this project, we've been keeping boxes from packages that we've received to use that. And once we're through with that, we do have a source where a family member is able to get cardboard boxes for free. So we're kind of waiting to see how much we might need for our additional garden beds before we go ahead and get that. But my first step is going to be laying down my cardboard. I'm going to make sure it's overlapping in areas where there might be holes or openings in the cardboard because I don't want the grass to grow up through in any of those places. But putting it down is my first step. And then we are going to put a layer of water. So I'm going to hose it down. Once we are done with that, then we're going to be putting the compost on top. And I have my compost delivery scheduled for first thing in the morning. I am really excited to get this project going and to get plants in the ground. I kind of have an area where I've been collecting plants and getting ready for some of these expansion areas. And I mentioned in my part 2 video that I'm going to be digging up plants from some other areas of my garden too, and kind of transplanting them or moving them around as my design is changing for my garden beds too. So I'm so excited. Cardboard is our first step. We're going to get started with our smaller island garden where my snowball viburnum bush that is shaped more as a tree, where that is, and putting some cardboard down. And then as we finish that brick border, we're going to get the cardboard put over top of any of the grass in those areas too. So let's get started with the cardboard. Good morning. It is the next day, and I am awake before 7 o'clock and in the garden, which is a very rare occurrence. I'm not a morning person, so this is unique for me. But it is for a good cause because we have 6 cubic yards of mulch coming today of compost, and that's going to be going in my new garden beds. Last night we did finish the brick border, which is really good to have done because now that means that we can fill in the rest of the space with cardboard. And then once the compost gets here, that's going to go on top of the cardboard, and then we can get to planting. So I did get kind of excited and antsy last night, and I probably shouldn't have moved all of these plants over here, but I have to show you. I got kind of excited, so I started placing some things that were in my plant holding tank. So these are some things that I'm thinking of putting in this bed. I think this peony out here in the front of this bed is going to get plenty of sun and be happy. So now we sit and we wait for our dump truck to get here to deliver our compost. This is so much sunnier than it was this morning. The last couple days when we've been working on part three of the project, it's been pretty drizzly and rainy and overcast, but now the sun is out. It's also a good place for us to pause part three because we ran out of cardboard. We used all the cardboard we have from boxes that we've been saving up in our garage and didn't get super far, but we got a start on it. So you can see here behind me, we have quite a bit of our cardboard down. And we're going to put that compost right on top of it and create new garden beds where our grass was, because that cardboard's going to suppress the weeds and keep them from growing, as well as the grass. So we are now complete with part three, almost complete. All we have to do is get some additional cardboard and get that put down and then put the compost on top of it. I think my part four is going to be planting up my new island garden bed up by my snowball tree. So I will take you along for that when I put down the compost and then get that planted up with some of my new perennials. So I will see you there, rain or shine, rain and shine. We completed part three, and we'll see you next time for part four.